Hey, hey. Welcome everybody to Miss Glow's Kitchen, where there's sugar, spice, and everything nice, where we slice, dice, and entice, using everything we can, from peppers to allspice. What's up, my people? Y'all know what time it is? See y'all in the kitchen. Strawberry pound cake is on the menu today. Alright, so all the ingredients are on the list. Matter of fact, I'm going to put them on the screen right now. Check them out. Anytime you're doing pound cakes, make sure you have 7 ingredients. Count your ingredients. That's how you know you didn't miss anything. So count them in the order that you put them in. And if you do that every time, you can prevent yourself from skipping ingredients. All right, so there's butter and sugar in there that needs to be creamed. After the butter and sugar, you got eggs. You got either 6 large eggs or 7 medium eggs. Got it? You got flavoring. After the flavoring comes the last 3 ingredients: baking powder, flour, and milk, which you're going to alternately put in the dry and the wet ingredients. That gives you 7 ingredients. All right, so we're going to go ahead and cream this butter. Now, what we're looking for is a fluffy, light mixture. So what we want to do is we want to get this mixed up. Just want to mix on low, and once this mixes, then we're going to put it on a higher speed. And that higher speed is going to get us the nice fluffy white mixture we're looking for. So hopefully you can see. Down in here, I'm going to scrape the pot a couple of times. Alright, it's incorporated. There we go. All right, so now you want to put your mixer on the lowest speed. All right, you want to keep it going, but put it on the lowest speed. So we're going to put these eggs in here. Now, ideally, you want to mix these eggs in one at a time, and you want to let them incorporate. But of course, it's not cooperating with me today, and 2 keeps falling in, so I want to let it go with 2. All right, but 2 is fine. You just want to incorporate. You just don't want, egg left without mixing into your batter really, really well. So we just want to make sure. Now, keep in mind, with all of these ingredients, you want your cold ingredients, your milk, your eggs, you want those to be room temperature, okay? So make sure you take those out. Your butter, your eggs, your milk, make sure you take them out ahead of time so that you have the time for them to become room temperature, because you're going to get a better cake if you do that, if you don't use the cold ingredients. All right, so you're going to get a way better pound cake. All right, so we're going to put these in one at a time. We're going to let them go in here, and here's where we'll put the flavorings in. Now, the flavorings, we're going to put the flavorings in by a teaspoon. So this is strawberry, so we're going to put in some vanilla extract, of course, some pure vanilla extract. We're going to put in 2 tablespoons of that. And it depends on the flavoring you're using. It really does. So that's why I always say experiment and taste, so that you know if you have to, if 2 will do it. So for what I'm using, I am using a strawberry emulsion. And that's a little different from the extract. It's a little thicker, and it puts some color in the cake too. So it gives us our pink color for the strawberry. So this one is great. This one's from Amazon. So it is Loran, Lorann, Loran strawberry emulsion. All right, so it's just like flavorings, but I like these emulsions more. Like, if you make cakes a lot, trust me, go on Amazon and try this. So this is me eyeballing it, but I'm telling you that I would put about 4 teaspoons in there. Okay? So I've used this emulsion so much that I just about know. But in looking at the color of the cake too, it also lets me know if I need to add a little bit more in there. So I kind of go off the color. And if it's not like pink enough, then I kind of know. So the pinker the cake is, of course, the more strawberry flavor you're going to have in there. But that's with this particular emulsion. So if you're using a strawberry flavoring, which I do use those sometimes, and I have some super strength and I have some regular strength. So usually regular strength, to be honest with you, I have to use like 6 teaspoons in here. So to get the strawberry flavor that I want. So it will depend on the flavoring or the emulsion that you use. So all of that said, just to say that in a nutshell. All right. All right. And so usually, if you're putting these flavorings in and you're not sure, you can start off with 2. And then as you go along with the cake, you can kind of look, because I do it when I make the other flavors too, like the key lime and some other flavors, I'll do that too. So you can start off with 2, and then you kind of just keep adding until you kind of get, a color that you like. And if you can get with these particular ones, I'm saying it again, if you get the color that you like, you'll get the flavor that you like too. But don't forget with the cake, you don't want to strongly flavor the cake, because we're going to put a really thick strawberry glaze on the outside of it. All right, so that's me eyeballing pouring by the teaspoons. So that's around 6 teaspoonfuls of it. But that'll give us that. You can smell it by now too. You'll smell it with the it smells so good. I mean, so if you're a strawberry cake lover, then trust me, this is for you. And if you don't know about emulsions, then pow, I got you. Now you do. And you gotta order some, and you gotta try it. Like, really. Okay, so I did speed that up because I wanted to make sure that the eggs and the flavoring, that they are all mixed in. Now at this point, you do want to count. You want to make sure with your ingredients you got them all. So we got the butter and the sugar that we creamed. Then we put the eggs in. Then the flavoring, that's 4. That means we have 3 things left to put in, which will be the baking powder, the flour, and the milk. All right, so this ensures, trust me, that you don't miss any ingredients out of your cake. So it's just a quick way of checking when you're making your cake, so that you don't forget later on and say, hey, I forgot the baking powder or something like that. All right, so you want to alternate with this. You want to put some flour in here, and then you want to put some milk, and then you want to put some flour, and then you want to put some, you get it? So you keep alternating until you just get a beautiful cake batter. So that's what you're going to do. So this cup, this is not to me for mixing. So I had ordered this measuring cup off Amazon, but it's just better to use one with a spout. It pours better, and it assures that you get all of your ingredients in there, because this calls for 1 1/4 cups of milk, and that's what we want to put in there. So that cup right there was running down the side and wasting, and trust me, we were going to be short of the milk that we should have in the cake. So be careful with that too, ingredients that waste out. All right, so I'm going to pour that in. So remember, we've got it on a low speed here. So even if you're using a hand mixer, right now while you're mixing this part of it up, keep it on a low speed. Okay? So again, I say we're going to alternate. We're going to put the other flour. We're going to put the milk. You get the gist of it. All right, so I'm going to take you to the end of that now. So we're going to skip the rest of this, and we're going to go to the end when this is all mixed in already. All right, so I put it on a higher speed at the end. Of course, you can see that. I want to get it all in there really good. So we got it. Now we just want to get this off here, and we'll be ready to bake. Now preheat your oven to 350 degrees if you have not done so already. So I should have said that in the beginning, but make sure that you preheat your oven and it's hot. It's ready to go. All right, so I'm going to clean this off. And what you want to do is you want to fold your batter from the bottom. So you're going to check and make sure that all of this is mixed in. You don't have some of the butter and sugar that was creamed earlier. You don't have that without color on it. So scrape your bowl, and then you want to pull from the bottom, and you want to fold it. So you want to make sure, that's why I'm showing you right there, so you have some, so you'd actually have sort of a marbled looking cake on the inside. And this isn't a marbled cake, it's strawberry, so you want to make sure you got it all mixed up really well. But make sure you fold it and you don't stir it. So you don't want to overwork your batter. So the folding technique at this point works better. All right, so that's how you check. Make sure you're scraping that bottom really well, the bottom and the sides. All right. All right, so we want to get our pan ready at this point. All right, oven 350, you want to get your pan, you want to get some Baker's Joy, some baking spray, some nonstick spray. But if you want to use flour and a butter or flour and a shortening, you can. That'll work out. I just like to use the spray. It's kind of a little more convenient for me. It's easier to use. You want to generously spray this pan. Spray it very well. Spray every little crack and crevice on there. You want to make sure your cake does not stick. I've had that happen a few times where I just couldn't get the cake out of the pan. Nothing I did, I just couldn't get it out. Tried every trick I've ever been told to get it out, and I could not get it out. So the only thing I can tell you here at this point is generously spray your pan so that your cake comes right out. All right, so you want to fill this pan about 3/4 of the way. Because if you fill it up any more than 3/4, then you're going to have the extra part of the cake at the bottom from it rising at the top. So now normally, sometimes I'll do that. If the cake is not for an event and it's not going to sit on a table or something, I will try to give my clients a bigger cake, because these cakes are 10 cup. These cake pans are 10 cup cake pans, but they actually look kind of small. So I actually kind of sort of overfill my pan so that I get that part of it that rises on the top, so that we do get larger slices. So that's me. That's the reason why I do that. But if you want a perfectly pretty cake out of the bundt pan, then fill it up about 3/4 of the way, because it's going to rise. And then you want to make sure that you leave your cake room to rise, but you won't have that extra part on the top if you don't want that. Okay? All right, so I'm going to keep on filling this pan up. You want to be kind of neat with it, as neat as you can. All right, so this is going to bake in the oven for, now normally I will set the oven for 1 hour and 10 minutes for me. But if you have a really super hot oven that cooks, then you want to make sure that you bake this for about an hour. And you want to stick that toothpick in, and that toothpick needs to come out clean. If it's got too many cake crumbs on it when you take it out, then bake it about 5 to 10 minutes longer, and you check it again. You don't want to burn your cake. So, all right, so I'm going to put all of these ingredients and these instructions in the description box down below. I'll tell you exactly how to make this cake. I walked you through it, but I'll tell you exactly how to make it. I'll do it in written form so that you can write it down if you want to. Now, if you want to do another flavor, it's very easy. Just substitute that strawberry for whatever flavor you want to use for your cake at that time. All right, get yourself some of these pretty bundt pans. I found a lot of bundt pans on Amazon, but I went in Whole Foods, and that's associated with Amazon, of course, but they had the pans in there. They have them at Walmart, Target, so get yourself some pretty bundt pans. They can get kind of expensive, so catch a sale on them if you can. All right, you want to hit your pan on all sides. You want to make sure that your cake does not have any holes in it on the inside. So you want to tap it, but you want to tap it a little hard. All right, if you have a surface that you can bang it on a couple times, do that, but I kind of tap it around the sides and tap it at the bottom just to make sure. All right, so it's going in the oven now. All right, so after that hour, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, however long you leave it in there, this is what you're going to get. So you're going to get your cake looking like this before we put the glaze on it. I'm going to show you how to put the glaze on it in just one moment. All right, glaze is pretty simple. All right, you're going to need some flavoring. All right, some powdered sugar. Very, very easy. You're going to need some milk. And that's it. All right, so I'm going to fill this bowl up. If you want to use a bigger bowl, use a bigger bowl. I'm so used to doing that this is going to work out for me. So it looks like the bowl is too small, but trust me, it's not. All right, so you want to start off with your milk. So you want to start off with about 3 to 4 cups of powdered sugar. And then you're going to put your milk in by the tablespoons. So you're going to start off with 2 tablespoons. It's going to look like it's not doing anything. Trust me. Stir. It's going to be dry on the top, of course, but at the bottom. So you want to keep stirring, because what happens is once you put too much milk and you make the glaze too thin, you're going to have to put in more powdered sugar. So you're going to end up with a whole hell of a lot of glaze that you can't use. So you don't want to jack up. What you want to do is you want to put the milk in a little bit at a time and stir. And don't forget that when you put your flavoring in, that is liquid also. So it will thin your glaze. If you put in too much milk before you bother putting that flavoring in or whatever, put too much, it'll make it too thin for you. So you want it kind of thick, like I have it on the cake if you saw the picture in the beginning. But if you do want it a little thinner, then that's okay. Add some more milk or some more flavoring in there and get yours a little thinner. All right. But this one's thin enough, but you'll see. You'll see when we're putting it on the cake. So you'll see how it's going to run off. So I'm going to show you that too. So I'm going to actually make the glaze, but I'm going to actually show you how I glaze my cakes. All right. All right, so it looks like a messy job here. Have some patience right here. I am using wire whisk. Now, what I will tell you is you can use a rubber spatula or a spoon, and it'll work out just fine. It'll work out just fine. So, all right, you want to put your flavoring in there. It's going to put maybe a couple teaspoons in there, so you'll see. So start off with a little bit of glaze, a little bit of flavoring as well. All right, so you don't want to over flavor it, especially if you have like lemon or something. Trust me, you can put too much. It won't seem like you can, but yes, it's very possible to put too much. So you want to start off with a little bit, and then you're going to work your way up. So glaze is quick, the glaze is easy. Once you make it and you stir it up, you look back, you're going to be like, oh my God, because you can make any flavor with this. So you can substitute that strawberry. You can make lemon, pineapple, coconut, any kind of flavor you want to make. So once you learn how to make a glaze, that's it. You flying high, you're gone. All right, so that's just for pound cakes. But of course, I do have caramel icing and some other glaze on my channel. So if you look at the cakes on my channel, you can get some idea how to make some other stuff. But I got some other good stuff coming up. You'll see. All right, so you want to keep on working with your glaze a little bit at a time. It gets too thin, like I said, then you add some more powdered sugar. All right, because I actually wanted mine to coat the cake, but if you are not a frosting like lover, you know how frosting is on cake, right? Well, if you're not a frosting lover like that and you want yours, a little thinner, then yeah, don't add more powdered sugar at this point. All right, so I'm going to work this around and carefully, but you want to make sure you have enough too. So depending on the size of the cake, so you want to make sure you have enough glaze, because that glaze will set, and you don't want to have to make another bowl of glaze while you already have glaze on your cake that's setting. All right, so you want to put all of your glaze on at the same time. So you want to be able to spin your cake or go around, and you're putting it on, and then when it sets, it'll just set on the outside very beautifully. Okay? Yep. All right, so I'll give you some measurements in the description box down below, and then what happens is, as you're making this at home, you will look at your glaze and you will see if that's the color that you want. And don't forget, there's nothing raw in here, so you can always taste your glaze along the way, so you can make sure you're getting the exact flavor you want. So that's the good thing about making a glaze too. So there's no eggs or anything in it like that, anything raw, so we good to go. All right, so keep scraping the sides of your bowl, keep stirring, because after a while what you're going to do is you're going to put some elbow in it. You're going to beat this really well, and that's so that you can get the balls of powdered sugar out. So if you got those, because you want a smooth glaze on your cake, so you don't want to put your glaze on there and all of a sudden, you see little balls of sugar. All right, let me give you another tip about powdered sugar too. Powdered sugar sometimes, I don't know how this happens, but sometimes they end up with these little pantry pests in it, and they're not necessarily in your pantry. So I found that out because I keep all of my bags of sugar, even when they're closed, I keep them in an airtight container, as you can see right there with that top on it. So I keep it in that plastic container, airtight. Nothing can get in it, nothing can get out of it. So You know, I find with powdered sugar that you can mix it and find out that you have those little pests in it. So, you know, to prevent that, what you can do is you can sift your powdered sugar before you use it. And so that ensures that those little pests that can get in powdered sugar, that ensures that it's not in your food before you start mixing it. Because, of course, if you start mixing it, then you got to throw everything away. So that's just a tip from me. And trust me, take it seriously because it can happen. You don't want to make a glaze with little bugs in it. I had to actually go and do a little research on the internet, so about that. I had to go and look that up. I'd never seen that before. Alright, so put a little elbow in it like I said. So you see how thick it is? If you don't want yours that thick, then add a little more milk. Now, you do that by the tablespoonfuls, like I said. So if that's too thick for you, then add another tablespoonful and then just whip it. Just really, 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 really whip it like I'm doing. You want to make sure that you got a smooth glaze. And then you want to taste it. So you want to make sure you have the right consistency, and you want to make sure you have the right flavor. All right, so that's all, folks. We're going to go on to actually glazing the cake. All right, so I'll normally use a spoon for it. And hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to go from the top of the cake. So I'll usually get a good amount. We will go back and forth like that. I want this to run down. So I'll come back to the middle, but I want this to evenly run down the outsides. So I'm gonna come back all the way around here. So here's where I'll start drizzling a little heavier. And we'll see. I like to show the shape of the cake, so I don't want no spaces left. So you can drizzle it, you can make it look like chiffon, you can make it look like a big ribbon on here. You can do this any way you want to do it. And I am telling you, you end up with a very, very beautiful cake. So you can coat it, you can let it run down halfway. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you don't want this icing to run all the way down, you don't have to let it. Just don't drip it as much as I'm dripping it if you don't want it to. All right, so I'm used to doing this now, so instead of having to turn it, I really don't. So I usually peek over there and pretty much I know that part over there is not really covered, so I'll just heavily let it run down. All right. So this time I'm covering the entire cake, so that's why I said that. So I said I was gonna come back to this middle part right here. I'm gonna let that run down the middle very beautifully, but I'm gonna get all of these little dark spots that we can see. I'm gonna get them all covered up, so I want to make sure. So it's gonna run down, and that is it. That is our strawberry cake. All right, sorry about my timer. I had another cake in the oven, but this is what we'll get when we're done. We get a beautiful cake like that. All right, everybody, y'all better go make this. Thanks for watching. See y'all next time. For more great recipes, tips, and ideas, check out some of my other videos.